Hello everyone and welcome back to my F2 2019 career mode for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So hopefully this round will go better than the last one because there was some issues, we'll say. So we move on to lap 7, turns 9 and 10, and I'm going a little bit deep trying to go off track, and as I come back on, got a little wheel spin, hit Latifi, spun around, and oof, that was very lucky not to slide back onto the racing line there. But anyway, hopefully that doesn't happen again, and we can have a clean race, get through to the end, and score some good points in both parts for the weekend, and hopefully move forward in the championship. But we'll see. Azerbaijan is a tricky circuit, so let's get some practice in and just see how the weekend unfolds.
Welcome to today's free practice for the Azerbaijan Formula 2 race weekend. We're here at the Baku City circuit, a circuit which on the one hand offers tight technical racing, and on the other, a long final sector that can be taken almost flat out the entire way round.
Alright, so here we are for practice. Into the first corner now, maybe using air test a little bit, but this will just be a pace guide this lap to see how my pace is and how I should set up the difficulty for this weekend. But I looked on the weather indicator before going out, and there's no rain forecast. But anyway, you can see through the caster section, getting through there fairly cleanly, and these very tricky corners onto the final very long straight. But those two corners are very tricky in the Formula 2 car. If you don't get your line just right, you'll be straight into the wall, which did happen 1 or 2 or 50 times. But anyway, we set our time and we go fastest, but I think we are the first.
An interesting practice session there then. Let's remind ourselves of the top 3, which are De Vries, Sete Camara and Luca Giotto. Thank you for joining us for free practice today. We'll be back with more Formula 2 action very shortly.
Alright, so I was going to say we are the first to cross the line to set a time anyway, but overall we are 5th, so I think we're in a good position for qualifying, so let's get into it, see how we go.
So it's time for the final qualifying session. Remember, the fastest lap here doesn't just get pole tomorrow, but also 4 points.
Alright, so here we are for qualifying. Hopefully we can get those 4 points for pole position, but there's only one way to do that, and that's to set a good lap. You can really only set 1 or 2 good laps in a Formula 2 qualifying with only one set of tyres to work with, or one of the softer compound anyway. So hopefully we'll be able to make the most of it, scraping the wall there on the exit of turn 2 and into the castle section, getting through there quite nicely from that strange halo camera there. But just scraping through that very awkward left-hander at the end of the second sector. I've had a lot of trouble with that, both in F1, F2, F1 2018. It's just never been a good corner for me through these twisty corners in the last sector, and DRS open towards the finish line and just waiting until we can cross that line and put the lap time in.
Okay, you're in the top 10.
And we're in the top 10, but not everyone has even set laps yet, I don't believe.
The grid is all set for the race tomorrow, but before we go, let's quickly remind ourselves of our top 3, which are Latifi, King and Luca Giotto. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the feature race tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
I was going to say, as we almost crash at the end of our lap there, but we ended up qualifying in P6, which is a position we can work with. Latifi on pole, getting those bonus points, and Jordan King up there as well. Guan Yu Zhou and Nobuharu Matsushita with good qualifying as well. Correa up in 7th place. Let's get into the race and hopefully have a good one.
Welcome Welcome back to Baku. We're on the edge of the Caspian Sea in a bustling, vibrant capital, which for only the third time plays host to Formula 2. This is not your usual racing circuit. It provides one of the most complete tests for the field. Sector 1 sports a set of 90-degree corners around the block, if you like. Sector 2 gets even tighter with the old city walls. Sector 3 just turns 16 to negotiate, and then 2.2 kilometers flat to the floor, full throttle in 6th gear, all the way to the end. I'm not the only one sitting here today who's looking forward to today's race. My friend and ex-GP2 champion Davide Valsecchi next to me is already on the edge of his seat awaiting the start of the event. How's it going today?
Hello there, Alex. I'm great, thank you, and very excited to get started. I have a feeling we are in for a very special event today.
Here are the starting positions for today's race. Nicholas Latifi lines up on pole position with Jordan King alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Giotto, Joe, Nobuharu Matsushita, and Calderon, Correa, Schumacher, De Vries, Sergio Sette Camara, Aitken, Hubert, Ralph Boschon, and Delatraz, Raghunathan, Mazepin, Galeo, and Giuliano Alesi, Ilott, and Dorian Boccalacci rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Right, let's be patient going into turn 1. We want to be in a good position for the rest of the race. Good luck.
Alright, here we go. 5 red lights. It's a long hold. And away we go for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix after cooking the engine on the grid there. And it's a great start by Matsushita and Correa on the right hand side. They're obviously on the racing line going into the first corner, so that makes sense. We were on the dirty side of the road, and that could be the reason for that. But anyways, we go into turn 2. We're just trying to be cautious and not break the front wing, and we didn't really get a run on the exit as I was defending, making sure De Vries on Schumacher behind couldn't get through. But anyway, into turn 3, not really much we can do. Correa's parked it on the racing line, and there's no move to make there. So we move on to lap 3, down the inside of Correa at the first corner, and get that move done. But that did take quite a while, and he's actually got an issue there by the look of things, and everyone's driving around him as I got a little bit distracted there. Anyway, this is a replay. Let's see what happened. And it's he just runs wide there over the curb and immediately slows down, but I think he may have known he had an issue at that point and was trying to stay out of the way, and he pulls up into the escape road, and I presume that was maybe a gearbox failure or engine failure of some kind. But anyway, we move on, and we have a battle on our hands with Matsushita. So we've got to run. We're going to go to the inside. He squeezes us almost into the wall there on the main straight before the start line. We go for a big dive down the inside, and as we rejoin, we just about avoid contact. Good driving by Matsushita there to give us some space, and we're still side by side going into turn 2. We're leaving the space on the inside, but he can't hold it there. We go around the outside of turn 2 and finally get that move completed. But that was a very sketchy overtake. He almost pushed us into the wall. We rejoined a bit dangerously, but anyway, 50-50 there. But as you just saw at the top of the screen, this is Alesi retiring from the race. He was well outside the points anyway, but sad to see not the start of the weekend he wanted. But hopefully he can recover in the sprint race. But anyway, we move on, and we've caught up to Guan Yu Zhou on lap 8. We're going to go side by side as we start the main straight. But as we head towards the DRS zone, I didn't hear the little bleep as I was racing, and didn't open DRS. You can see he's got the straight line speed because of it. And we go for a big move around the outside into the first corner, but we can't quite pull it off. Went a little bit wide and lost the rear end on the exit there, and that compromised my run into turn 2 to the point he got the better exit. I've got the DRS, but I just didn't get the run in that I needed to. So we're going to have to wait another entire lap at least to be able to make the move on Guan Yu Zhou. Just can't make up the distance under brakes there, and we are just going to have to find another opportunity. But we move on to lap 11 now, and we make a pit stop. It's about that time in the race, so we're just going to get into those pits now, hopefully maybe get an undercut in on some of the cars ahead. So here we go, in and now out.
Go now.
Eventually of the pit stop, 5.8 seconds, not bad. It's good if you can get under the 6 second mark in a Formula 2 pit stop, but you don't really have a lot of control over it. There's no
Pit strategy
contracts
complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
or any of that in Formula 2. It's just, I assume, completely randomized, but who knows, maybe the top teams go faster or something, I don't know. But anyway, we'll don't worry about that. Oh, this is the battle for the podium. That's Latifi out in front, but Jordan King, Guan Yu Zhou, and I'm not sure who the other one is, Giotto. It must be all battling away there. Up ahead, this is Giotto around the outside of Jordan King for third position, and he might just get that done. You know, he's still side by side on the exit of turn 1, and they're going to continue that battle as we watch on from our POV as we round turn 2, a little bit sideways on the exit there, trying to get the power down. I can see they're battling away, but anyway, Giotto is going to end up getting that position. But that is Guan Yu Zhou overtaking Latifi for the race lead. So a great move there, and a good race so far by the Chinese driver. But we focus back on our own race, and that's Jordan King ahead of us. So we're going to try and make a move on him. We go to the left-hand side down the main straight, just like we did with Matsushita, and he leaves us a lot more space. We're alongside much earlier in the process, and we actually set the fastest lap there as we go down the inside and get that move done ahead of Jordan King up into P4 in this race at the start of lap 24. So there's 5 laps to go after this, so let's just try to bring it home and bring home this P4. Hopefully we can get ahead of Giotto, but the chances of that just got slimmer as we got a lot of wheel spin on the exit there. And as we move on to the end of that lap, Sergio Sette Camera goes to the inside and makes the move, and I decided to just let him pass there because we're going to have the DRS along the main straight, and we'll be able to get him back into the first corner. So we move on to the straight to the left hand side and get that position back from Sette Camera back up into P4 where we were running before, and we push him a little bit wide of the apex, but get that move done up into 4th position. But we move on to lap 27, and he gets the position back off of us, so it's going to be a constant DRS battle, it seems, with Sergio Sette Camera.
We're catching the car ahead, but be aware that these tyres need to last till the end of the race.
The end of the race is in 2 laps, Jeff. I don't think we need to worry about the tyre wear too much. I'm going to be pushing as hard as I can. So anyway, as we are trying to do that, we have a bit of a slide on the exit there, and that's cost us a lot of time, and that might ruin any chance of passing Sette Camera. So we move on to the final lap, throwing everything at it through the castle section, trying to push the absolute limits and put it all on the line to just see if we can get that 4th position back as we have opened up.
Zhao's out in front.
Zhao's out in front. I'm not an expert in Chinese, but I don't think it's pronounced Zhao. I've never heard it pronounced Zhao. Anyway, as we are trying to push, we run wide and at the first corner of the last sector, and through the left-right section towards the finish line. We are just gonna run out of time to catch up. We're not gonna have the DRS. We're too far back, and we're just gonna have to sit and wait an absolute eternity to get to the finish line due to the length of this straight, and you can see the frustration.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And some bits of front wing. Ow.
So Uni Virtuosi have won it, and what a great race it was. Davide, what do you think made the difference here?
I think this race was won thanks to the tire management. You have to remember, it's not just about going as fast as you can. It's about consistency. It's about maintaining your speed over an entire race distance. So being able to keep the lap time competitive while still respecting the tires, that's where they won today.
And as the adrenaline dies down after another eventful race, here come our top three out onto the podium. And now, let's take a look at the driver's standings. It's a good result for Nicholas Latifi, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. And now, Davide Valsecchi, let me ask you, who is your driver of the day?
I go for Wanzhou. The Univirtuosi driver today just surprised me. He was so aggressive. He deserved the victory.
And now a look at the team standings. Dams move further ahead at the top of the standings. There was also a strong showing from the Univirtuosi team today as they make their way up the standings. Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Alright, thanks Alex. So yeah, good win for Guan Yu Zhou. Latifi keeping his championship going in second. And Luca Giotto getting up on the podium, so it's a double podium for Univirtuosi there. And Tatiana Calderon recovering from 8th to 4th in that race. Let's get on to the sprint race.
Welcome back for the final event of the weekend, the sprint race. Here, the top 8 from yesterday's feature race are reversed to make up the grid below us. And in just a few minutes, those drivers will be hurtling down into turn 1. I'm not the only one sitting here today who's looking forward to today's race. My friend and ex-GP2 champion Davide Valsecchi next to me is already on the edge of his seat awaiting the start of the event. How's it going today?
Hello there, Alex.
Okay, the run into turn 1 isn't too long, so the pack will be bunched up. Take care.
Alright, I will not be taking any care. I'm going to be aggressive this time and see what we can do. 5 red lights are on and away we go for the Azerbaijan sprint race. A lot of smoke coming off the back of Jordan King's car there. But he actually gets away well and is challenging Matsushita in the first corner as we dive bomb Sergio Sede camera into the first corner and get the position back, which we briefly lost from the start. But we are right behind Jack Aitken. We're going to try and get a good exit out of turn 2, and we do that where we don't get any wheel spin, but we don't actually really get a run that I wanted. So we're just going to have to sit behind Aitken for now unless we can make a big dive bomb. But I wasn't feeling that brave. At this point we've gotten away cleanly and held our position, so we can now focus on the rest of the race and try to maybe get a podium if we can get past Aitken. So we move on to the end of the first lap, and we're sitting in the slipstream seeing if we can make a move into the first corner, and we're just going to sit and wait and wait and wait and hope that the extra speed comes. But if you look up ahead, Jordan King is going down the inside of Matsushita into the first corner, and I think he's just going to get that position, and he does, as we run a little bit wide there on the exit. But look at the gap back to Luca Giotto in 5th. There is a massive gap there, so the top 4 really pushing hard on the opening lap to try to stretch away from the rest of the field. So we move on to the same place once again, the end of the second lap now, and this time we do have a run on Aitken, but he defends, so we're going to have to go to the outside. Matsushita follows him across, so we go right down the outside of both of them into the first corner. Went in a little bit too deep, ran a little bit wide, and Matsushita holds on, and he defends quite awkwardly, so we go around the outside again. He had a bit of a lock up there, but he drives very well through the apex and manages to stay ahead. But we get the DRS and a better exit, and we go to the outside once again, and this time we've got a lot more of the car alongside, and we're going to go down the outside, squeeze into the apex a little bit there, and
Great maneuver. You made it
we
look easy.
managed to get that move done this time around the outside of Matsushita, and it was a really good battle between both of us there, giving each other a lot of space and a lot of respect. But good fair racing, with Matsushita there. But this is Sergio Sette camera, and he has had his engine explode, and that was very close with one of the cars going past there. So that is Sergio Sette camera, one of the championship contenders potentially, out of the race. So that will put a dent in his charge through the field that he had in the first race. So anyway, we don't need to worry about that though, because we've moved on to lap 10 now. And finally we have caught up to Jordan King as we are pushing through the castle section, following him through there. And now it's only a matter of time before we get within DRS range and hopefully can take the lead of this race. So we just need to stick close to him through the last sector, and we do that. We've actually got a good run even without the DRS onto the main straight, and by the time we open it, we've got a good run. We're going to go to the right hand side as he decides to defend, and we've got the move done well before the corner.
Good job, nice overtake.
And we dive for the apex just to make sure that there's no chance of him re-overtaking us there. And we have taken the lead of this race. Now we just need to try our best to control it until the end. Here's the replay, and you can see how far clear we were before we even got to the corner, so there probably wasn't really need to defend as heavily as we did. But as we go into the very awkward corner at the end of the second sector, I got a bit of a bad run through there, and Jordan King has got a good exit. So I'm just going to do what I did with Sette camera in the last race, let him past, and try to get a good run through the next section behind him, and that should give me the best chance to overtake into the first corner, rather than just trying to defend a position, which is very difficult to do on this main straight when the car you're battling with has DRS. So anyway, we open the DRS, and we've got a good run. We're going to try to go to the outside maybe, if he defends again.
But be aware your tyres need to go the distance.
We go down the outside and cut across very aggressively to the apex there to make sure he doesn't get us back. And he's on board with Jordan King to see just how much we cut him off straight across to the apex. We might have almost hit the wall there actually on the inside, but we get away with it. But we move on another lap later, and Jordan King tries to pass us. We tried to cover him off, but it was never going to work. And we have to battle him around on the outside, but there's no way we could have held on to that. But we get a good switch back through turn 2, and we go on board looking through the halo, this very cool camera angle, and we get that position back ahead of Jordan King. So we move on now to lap 14. Jordan King's going to come back at us again, heading towards turn 3. We're moving around on the straight, trying to break the slipstream, but he's following us everywhere. So we have to defend into turn 3, turn in a little bit early, just about hit the wall there, but we get away with it on that occasion. And we now move on to lap 15. He's trying to pass us again on the inside, so we try to go around the outside, but he manages to hold on that occasion. But we're going to try for a good switchback, just like we did before, and we do just that, and we get a good exit. So let's see if we can get ahead. We've got the DRS open, go to the outside as Jordan King defends, and we can outbrake him, squeeze him right towards the apex, give him a really tight line, and there's nothing he can do there. But look, we are starting to hold up on a bit of a train here. But anyway, we decided he's right behind me here, so I ran a little bit wide and let him past, and he will take the DRS line for me, and I get the DRS open, get a nice exit onto the straight, and can get past him easily and retake the lead now. So
Nice work, that brings you up a place.
I'm just sort of testing the waters at this point, seeing what I can get away with, see how far back I can possibly come from to win this race if I'm second in the last sector. So I'm just sort of planning the end of the race to see where I need to place the car. And anyway, we actually got a bad exit out of turn 4, and Jordan King has tried to make a move around the outside. He gets there, and we try to get a nice switch back as he was compromised on the entry much more than I was, and we get that switch back made and get the position back. Here's the offboard, and look at that. That was a really nice move by Jordan King to go around the outside there.
Be careful on those tyres. We're seeing some significant signs of wear now. You may start struggling on them before too long.
But as we have a big slide, that line into turn 6 was always going to be way too tight for Jordan King. And now it's actually Jack Aitken who is battling with Jordan King, so hopefully they can hold each other up. But anyway, as we head towards the line on lap 19, we are moving very aggressively in front of Jordan King, trying to break the slipstream, trying to stop him and block him from overtaking. And we make a massive dive into the first corner, get on the curb a little bit and have a slide on the exit, but we hold on. And now into turn 2, we managed to block him off on the exit, and hopefully he will start battling with Aiken. And as we move on now to lap 21, he is battling with Aiken, but they're both trying to attack me into turn 3, but we managed to hold on that occasion. I'm just hoping that they battle with each other enough that I'll be able to hold on for the race lead, because they're all too close. It'll be too hard to try to let one of them past, and thanks to their battling, we've got a bit of a lead. But as we go into turn 5, we go in a little bit too deep, and that's compromised turn 6, and they're right behind me once again, and we have a slide on exit. So this is really not going to plan. But if we get through the castle section well, we think we should still be okay. So here we go into the castle section. I decided not to take any massive risks, and just make sure we get through, and I can try to make up the time through the last sector, which is slightly lower risk, but Aiken is right behind us, so hopefully we can hold him off through these next couple of corners. I missed the apex there and had to back out, but Aiken just decides to follow me through there, and into his very awkward left-hander, I decided to take a little bit of a risk through there, carry as much speed as possible. But here is Jordan King going down the outside of Aiken into that corner, and that has really helped my cause, because as we go into the straight, they're nowhere near me. They got held up so much going side by side through there. It's not a corner you can get away with it. So we cross the line for P1.
Absolutely awesome. Just amazing. Well done.
Thanks, Jeff.
So another fantastic victory for Arden today. Tell me, Davide, what was the key to this success?
I think this race was won thanks to the tire management. You have to remember, it's not just about going as fast as you can. It's about consistency. It's about maintaining your speed over an entire race distance. So being able to keep the lap time competitive while still respecting the tires, that's where they won today.
As they make their way down to the podium, there's no denying the strength of the Arden team. Arden aren't afraid to take risks on new talent, and it certainly looks like it paid off today. Fantastic work.
So we get our first win for the season. Hopefully there will be more to come. But that was a lot of fun, that race. A lot of good battling with the other cars, and with Aiken and Jordan King up there on the podium as well.
After this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It was not the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
Alex, I go for Antoine Hubert. The other driver, he was spectacular today. What an overtake! Fantastic.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Teams Championship. Dams move further ahead at the top of the standings. Meanwhile, Arden's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. And after all that excitement, I think it's time for a lie down. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you when Formula 2 returns.
So it may have been a bit of a lackluster first race for Hubert in the feature race, but he made up for it in the sprint race with a P4. So a brilliant race from him, P12 to P4. That's a lot of overtakes. And yeah, that was a really good race by both of us. And that'll really help us in the Teams Championship, as they pointed out. So that's been a fairly successful episode. Hopefully we can continue this form with the next round in Spain. We'll see you then. Goodbye. Dun, 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 dun.
Engine off, engine off.
That was a bit of a sketchy overtake as the telephone rings